All right, here we are for our next major scale pattern. This is our second one that we're learning. We're going to stay in the key of G. And remember, if you've seen the first pattern already, we started with the root note, and we want to do the same for this second pattern. Now, this one's a bit different because our root note is not on the low E string. And that's just because of the positioning of this pattern. We're actually moving our hand up from where we were before, moving it up a couple frets. So we can't get down to the low E root of the G chord, of the G scale, without having to move our hands. So we're going to start the scale in a different position. We're actually going to start on the D string. So we'll take a look at that. I don't want to confuse you with a bunch of details, other than the fact that I talked about always starting on the root note and knowing where the root note is, because that helps you improvise, that helps you use this scale and implement it into songs that you're playing with other people. So it's just important just to note that the root note is not going to be, on the E string. It's not going to be on the A string. We're going to be on the D string. So that's where we're going to start, and that's where we're going to end. All right, so because we're in the key of G, we want to place our second finger on the 5th fret of the D string. So that's our root note. That's a G note right here that we're playing. So we're starting on the G and we're going to end on the G. Now here's the pattern starting from the root note. Okay, so you might have noticed I went all the way down to the 8th fret on the high E string, came back, found the root note, and then started going down lower until we got to the 5th fret of the low E string, and then started making our way back up. Okay, so again, the trick here is just memorizing the pattern. So you're going to notice lots of 5 and 7s. And then when we get to the D string and G string, we're also going to go back to the 4th. And then when we get to the B string and high E string, we're also going to go up to the 8th fret. And here's something that helps me is oftentimes you'll find scales come from a chord shape. And there's actually a chord shape here that you might recognize, and this is the D chord. So the 7th fret on the G string, the 7th fret on the high E string, and the 8th fret on the B string. That's where we get some of our shapes, are from the scales. So sometimes when you're memorizing, find the chord that goes along with that scale pattern. So let's go back and we're going to take a look at it slowly. Starting on the 5th fret of the D string. And then you're going to use your pinky on the 7th fret. First finger on the 4th fret. Second finger on the 5th fret. Pinky on the 7th fret. Then you're going to slide your hand up 1 fret so that you can play the 5th fret with your first string, or with your first finger, sorry. And then we've made it up the highest that we can go in that position, in that shape. So now we're going to start making our way back down. And then here you can either use your 3rd finger or use your pinky. I would slide back and use the pinky. So slide back, use your pinky. So just so that we're in the right position to be able to play the first finger on that 4th fret. And then here's another one where you can slide up right away or just use your pinky. If you use your pinky on the 7th fret, then you can use your first finger on the 5th fret, and then your pinky will be ready to play the 8th fret of the low E string. And then you can start making your way back up the scale. Okay, let's do the whole pattern one more time. 3, 4. Okay, and if you already know the first pattern by now, you can start to combine the two patterns because you'll see some of them actually overlap. When you start combining patterns, that's when the fretboard starts to make a whole lot more sense for you. You can play in a certain key. Now, both patterns we've done in the key of G so far, but you can move these anywhere and use them in whatever key you're going to be playing in. It does get a lot more fun when you can start using this in a way that makes sense and sounds cool. I mean, it's just practicing scales and playing scales is not, you know, the most enjoyable thing in the world, but when you can start implementing it, using it in a way that sounds really neat, sounds, you know, when you're jamming, when you're improvising, it just unlocks a whole lot of goodness for you. All right, work on that, and we will see you in the next lesson.